How much faith do you have? How much trust do you have in the things that are meant for your life? Hello, welcome to Authentically Aligned, a wellness podcast where we speak on all things wellness, from fitness and nutrition to meditation and mindfulness, healing, growth, self-help, and so much more. If you are a new listener, welcome to the podcast. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for your love and support. And I want you to know that I'm sending you that same love and support right back. Today, we are talking about what it looks like to create a soft and purposeful life. Now, living a soft life doesn't mean living a life of avoidance or passivity, but living a soft life means living an intentional, fulfilled, purposeful life. When you are grounded in peace and when you are grounded in purpose, this is what allows you to live a soft but intentional life. And I feel as if many believe that the two cannot exist together. And I'm here to remind you, I'm here to give you perspective on what it looks like to live a soft and purposeful life simultaneously. I think that there is this idea that purpose comes from a sense of hustle, but really purpose comes from a sense of alignment. And when you are able to cultivate purpose through alignment, this is what allows the softness to occur inside of the purpose and inside of the fulfillment that you experience. So as we dive into this episode, my reminder for you is when you stop chasing, you start attracting exactly what is meant for you. We live in a time where we were taught to believe that our worth is equated to our productivity. And I'm here to remind you and tell you and get it in your head that your worth is not defined by your productivity. And oftentimes, the value of your productivity is diminished when you equate your worth with your productivity, because you are showing up, spreading yourself so thin, doing anything and everything under the sun to create this value inside of you, when really if you were to show up intentionally, purposefully, and genuinely to one facet, you would have so much more to show in an authentic way than feeling like you have to do a million things to prove who you are. Something that I've shared many times is you are worthy just being you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be anything. You don't have to act as anything. As long as you are being genuine and authentic to yourself, you hold value and you take up space. Because we have been so conditioned for productivity, we get stuck in this burnout loop or this burnout cycle where we are constantly striving. We're constantly reaching. We're constantly working. And the reality is that leaves us unfulfilled. So let's talk about what a hustle mindset looks like and what a mindset of alignment looks like. A hustle mindset looks like a forced life. Everything you do feels forced. You're having to use force. You're having to exert. You're having to exhaust. Whereas when you are experiencing alignment and you are living in an aligned mindset, you allow the flow of your life to naturally happen. Now, this doesn't mean that you're not taking aligned action, but just by you being authentic and showing up as your true self to your known purpose, to the things that you know to be true, you are allowing yourself to experience this flow. Regardless of the outcome, you are pouring in, and you're pouring in from an authentic way. And when you have a set outcome that you are not willing to change, you're not willing to waver on, this is when you start to create this hustle inside of you. And this is when you start to feel the forcedness of your life versus allowing your life to flow and allowing yourself to settle into what the flow of your life looks like. This allows you, when you're experiencing the flow, this allows you to live a soft life. Now, like I mentioned before, living a soft life doesn't mean that you're passively moving through life. Living a soft life means that each decision that you make, each encounter that you have, each interaction that you have is in alignment with not only the person that you know yourself to be, but it's also in alignment with the person that you desire yourself to be, the higher version of yourself, the better version of yourself. When we live a life of softness and a life of alignment, we create a life of sustainability. And when we're living a life of force and we're living a life of pressure and feeling the need to constantly go, 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 we are creating a recipe for chaos. We are creating a recipe for burnout, for experiencing these really high highs and then these really low lows when you come crashing down and you have nothing left to give. The reality is that if you're consistently pouring into your cup and you're consistently showing up as this aligned, authentic version of yourself, there isn't going to be these super high highs and there isn't going to be these super low lows. There isn't going to be a point of burnout or a point where you crash because you are consistently receiving energy from your own frequency, from being aligned with your own frequency, from elevating your frequency. Now, that's not to say you're not going to experience the ups and downs of life. You're absolutely going to experience the ups and downs of life. You're absolutely going to experience the challenges, and you're going to be tested in moments where you're questioning what your authenticity looks like in that moment. But as you are doing this, you are being invited even more so to show up as your true, as your real, raw, genuine, authentic self. And each time that you make that decision, you choose a life of alignment and you build a trust within yourself. You build a confidence within yourself to continue embarking on this journey of alignment. And as you continue to do this, you continue to live a soft life. One of the biggest, most common mistakes that I hear is somebody comparing their journey to the journey of somebody else. It could be somebody who is in the same field, somebody who is in the same industry, and they're telling you, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And maybe that is what worked for them. That's amazing. But maybe those things are not the things that are going to work for you. And if you are listening and determining that you need to do all of these things because this is what somebody else did, where is your authenticity? And if you are not being true to yourself, how do you expect to live a life of softness? A life of fulfillment when you're constantly trying to be like somebody else? There is no softness, there is no peace in replicating what somebody else has done or what somebody else is doing. So recognizing that living a soft life and living a life of alignment does not mean slowing down, but it means that you are turning inward and you are tuning into your frequency, and you are tuning into the frequency that you desire to be on. And this is not only for yourself personally, but this is the frequency of the life that you desire to live. So what does it look like to define your purpose? Maybe you don't know what that looks like, or maybe you need to redefine your purpose because your purpose isn't in alignment with the version of yourself that you are today. And as you're doing this, recognizing that purpose is not a destination. Your purpose is a forever journey. And the things that you are meant to do, and the things that you are called to do, and the things that you are chosen to do are a constant state of work, a constant state of showing up. So just because you are living in your purpose and you are living a soft life does not mean that it doesn't require work. But what it does require is aligned action. It requires action that you feel fulfilled inside of, that you know to be true as you're performing these actions, that you are empowered by creating a life of alignment. Aligned action is rooted in clarity. It's rooted in peace. It's not rooted in chaos. And it's not rooted in uncertainty. So taking aligned action requires you to have full and complete understanding of what your authentic alignment looks like. If you're experiencing pressure, if you're experiencing anxiety, stress, fear, worry, to the extent that it's overpowering your fulfillment, you are not experiencing purpose. Absolutely, there is going to be pressure. Absolutely, there is going to be fear and doubt and uncertainty inside of your purpose. But at the end of the day, are you able to take a step back and really tell yourself and believe yourself that this is exactly what you are supposed to be doing? And if there's any doubt or question in your mind, it's absolutely worth taking a second look. Just because you are moving forward does not mean that you have direction. And it definitely doesn't mean that you have direction toward your purpose. If any decision or move or action that you take is not directing you toward your purpose, likely it is not a move of aligned action. Oftentimes we think that being busy is an incredible thing. It's a great thing. But sometimes it's important for us to take a step back and recognize, what are we busy with? What are we filling our time with? And is this time that we're spending, working and investing and pouring our energy to, is this all guiding me toward my purpose? Is this all bringing me closer to what I am destined to do, what I am supposed to do? And if the answer is no, you might be filling your schedule and filling your time, taking up energy, pouring into things that are not in alignment with you. There are absolutely times and there are absolutely seasons where we have to do things that don't necessarily have meaning or aren't necessarily driving us closer to our purpose. However, it's important to recognize if you're in a season where that is the only thing that you are doing, you are on a quick road to burnout. As long as you have direction and you are consistently moving in a direction of your purpose, you are going to experience that fulfillment. But if every action that you take is spreading you thin, wearing you out, pulling you away from your purpose, It's absolutely time to reevaluate and figure out where you can continue or start to take aligned action. What does it look like for you to take aligned action with direction to your purpose every single day? Living a soft life requires, underline, requires you to be able to surrender. Learning to surrender and learning the practice of surrender can be difficult because you may feel this need to control. Every time that you surrender and let go of control, you regulate your nervous system. Every time you surrender, every time you let go, you reduce the anxiety that happens inside of your body. And oftentimes when you're feeling the need to control, it's coming from a place of fear. Control stems from fear, and surrendering stems from trust. How much faith do you have? How much trust do you have in the things that are meant for your life? How do you allow yourself to practice surrenderance? Knowing, trusting, having faith that everything that is supposed to happen in your life will happen exactly as it's supposed to. When you stop forcing outcomes, you allow everything to unfold in your life exactly as it's supposed to. Oftentimes, when we are working so hard to control something, when we're working so hard to manipulate something, we're actually blocking our blessings. Because as much as we may want something, God could want the same exact thing for us, but because we're trying to control it, we're creating these situations, we're creating these scenarios that are not in alignment with the timing, with the planning. I saw something so beautiful and so interesting the other day, and it was this woman who was speaking about how everything has to line up exactly for a person to become who they're meant to be. She was referring to having children, and she was referring to the trusting of God's timing in having children and knowing that for her child to be who they are destined to be, it requires divine timing in so many places. For her child to have a teacher that is going to teach them when they get to school and being able to connect with this exact teacher for this exact purpose that's going to pour into them, that's going to shape them as a human. Everything that has to line up in order for all of these things to happen has to be in divine timing. So when you are working so hard to force or control an outcome, you are working against God's timing. You are working against the purpose that God has for your life. And when you allow yourself to have faith, when you allow yourself to trust, to surrender, you recognize that not only in the past, every moment, every connection, every instance has brought you to exactly where you are today, but moving forward, that's also going to be the case. Everything has happened in such divine timing. And making sure that you are not allowing yourself to play victim of these things. When we play victim, we don't recognize the blessings that are occurring inside of our lives every single day. When you allow yourself to learn from every instance, from every moment, from every circumstance, what is this teaching me? Where am I growing because of this? Where am I evolving? Where am I expanding because of this? And when you go into everything with a mindset like that, you allow yourself to live a soft life, a life of surrender, and a life of alignment. So living a soft life does not mean that you are living a life of weakness. Living a soft life means that you are living a life of strength, because it takes so much more strength to have faith, to trust, to surrender, than it does to show up hard and try and control the outcome. When you allow yourself to live a soft life, you allow yourself to live a life of emotional intelligence. How do you show up with leadership in a gentle way, knowing that you have the power to take aligned action while simultaneously surrendering to God's plan? Being soft doesn't mean that you're playing small. It means that you're finding steadiness. It means that you're finding consistency. It means that you are practicing acceptance, showing up strong in every moment, practicing acceptance, practicing presence. If you are forever worried about the outcome that is ahead of you, are you practicing presence in the life that you currently have? When was the last time that you took a look at your life and really practiced gratitude, really were thankful for where you are in your life right now? Take time to focus on being present and enjoying this present moment, because these moments that we're living in right now are moments that we've prayed for. These moments that we're living in right now are moments that we've worked for. So why are you wishing away the present moment by trying to control something that is out of your hands? And as you do this, you begin to live a life of ease. Not because life becomes easy, but because you are taking intentional steps. You are taking intentional action rather than always having to put in effort, straining yourself. Purposeful living is about doing less. But inside of that doing less, you are moving with awareness. You are moving with understanding, with intention, with purpose, rather than expending your energy having to force something that isn't supposed to happen. How do you practice sacred slowness? What is sacred slowness? Just as I was mentioning before, where are you in this present moment? What are you grateful for in this present moment? And what do you hope to have moving forward? And how do you posture yourself to be grateful, to be humble, to be present right now, while also preparing for the things that are destined in your future? The power in the pause is so important. Taking a pause in every decision that you make, in every word that you speak. There is so much power in taking a pause, because it allows you to respond with alignment rather than react out of fear. So how do you practice this? How do you implement rituals throughout your day, throughout your week, that allow you to practice what it looks like to live a soft, intentional, aligned life? Number one is grounding yourself. Taking time every morning to pray, to meditate, to clear your mind, to find clarity within yourself, within your purpose and the things that you are called to do. Practicing somatic work, connecting to your body. If you are disconnected from your body, you are not able to find the clarity that you need. You are not able to fully live in alignment with yourself, being disconnected from your body. Things like breath work, things like stretching, things like yoga practices where you're aware of the presence of your body. These are the things that are going to help you connect to your body. The art of saying no. Intentionally saying no. This does not align with me. This does not align with my purpose. This does not feel good inside of my body. No. If you are making a decision and instantly you feel a sensation in your body of anxiety or stress or frustration or worry or fear, you should have said no. Practice saying no and not feeling bad about it. Practice saying no and feeling empowered. Practice saying no, knowing that you are building your trust and your confidence within yourself. Creating a life of rhythm, finding flow inside of your life. You can have structure and flow at the same time. These things can coexist. But living a hard life and living a rigid life is not a life of softness. It's not a life of sustainability. And trusting that aligned timing is never late. God is always right on time. Now, practicing these things can be uncomfortable. And you know what? The reality of life is the hard things are uncomfortable. The things that are allowing you to grow, the things that are allowing you to flourish, embody, step into the best version of yourself, they're going to be uncomfortable. They're going to be hard. As you start to slow down, you're likely to experience feelings of being unproductive, feeling guilty. These are feelings that you need to sit with, recognizing that your productivity does not equate to your worth. Your worth, your respect, your value, your love as a person exists regardless of how you show up. Reframing the discomfort that you're feeling as safety because you are learning to grow. You are learning to trust yourself through the discomfort that you're experiencing. And recognizing that letting go requires courage. It requires faith. And it's so much more difficult than trying to control. Softness requires strength because it's asking you to trust, believe, have faith, surrender in the things that you cannot control. As always, as we close this episode, I have a journal prompt to leave you with, as well as an affirmation. Today's journal prompt is, where can I slow down and act from alignment instead of urgency? And today's affirmation, I create a soft, purposeful life by leading with peace, trust, and intention. So as you move through your week this week, remind yourself, purpose is not something that you chase. Purpose is something that you cultivate through presence, softness, and surrender. I am sending you so much love and light this week. Have a beautiful week.